at any point, do you all ever think that you all are putting women inside of this box that these boxes that were constructed for you? These are not boxes that you made up. These are boxes that were constructed for you and for all of us. But I'm just talking about men because I date men, but these boxes that were constructed for you, you try to fit these women in this box. Is it fair to say that you all miss out on really good women trying to fit them inside of this box?
No, I don't think so. I think the most important thing to men is literally, honestly, one of the easiest things you could ever do, which is not being promiscuous. Like, I think it's okay that that's extremely important to men. Like, all you had to do was not do a lot. Like, all like all you had to do was chill out. But y'all didn't do that. Like let's say all I had to do, let's say I didn't have to grow up, I didn't have to grow a beard, I didn't have to go to the gym and work out and get muscles. Let's say I didn't have to make money and figure out how to make six figures and all these type of things. All I had to do was be there and just chill out.
Hold on, you saying that for the women?
Hold on. Why is it that y'all don't just have to chill out? But also, I'm not really talking about promiscuity. I'm talking about in general. You all put women inside of these very tiny boxes that nobody can really fit in. And there are a lot of really quality women that if they do a certain thing, you put them in a box. If they look a certain way, you put them in a box. I just said I wasn't. I really just said that I'm not talking about promiscuity. That's what I just said that. I'm talking about in general. You all.
You premise your question off of our fathers or the men before us telling us, hey, don't mess with these type of women that have this type.
No, I never said that.
Displaying this type of pattern of behavior.
I didn't say that. I said, when are men going to think for themselves? I never said any of that. When are men going to make up their own reality?
Who on this panel gave you an indication that? Which one of
you
these
men
was part of the indication?
Okay, wait a minute. Wait, to clarify. This is wait a second. This is what you're not understanding, Darwin. What is being said is a statement was said. We were taught, and then she followed that up with the reasonable line of thinking would lead women to believe all you have just said was if you weren't taught that such and such wasn't acceptable, you actually like it. It is your innate nature to like it.
Can you please?
You like it. You just know that because
something?
somebody told you you shouldn't like it, you don't bring it home. But that would explain why you cheat on your wife with it, because you still desire it. It's just not acceptable. That's not the woman that is socially acceptable for you to.
We're not gonna let y'all bamboozle the conversation.
No, that is a legitimate question. Though, if you're saying you were taught,
hang on. You said a behavior that wasn't.
You told her to hang on, but you cut her off.
What are we talking about? Because she just said we wasn't talking about the pattern of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said, are we talking about hoes? She said no. I said, are we talking about a pattern of behavior? You said no. And then you hold on, and then you reframe the question saying something that is not acceptable. What are you talking about, Bougie?
Darwin, you weren't listening to the conversation because you were asking questions that if you were listening would have already been answered. And I was trying to have a conversation. You literally backed the conversation up to the original question. If you were listening, you would have already known these things because all of this was answered. I never said any of that. I asked something completely different from a comment that Real Dope made. And you just
what comment did he make?
The entire conversation.
That he was taught. He said men were taught not to, essentially what he said was men were taught not
say
to like
exactly
hoes.
what he said. Men were taught not to what?
That's exactly
not to
Wife.
what? Wife hoes. Okay.
Okay, god damn it.
So would you wife? So my question is, but that doesn't negate from what the original question seems to be. The question that the women are now posing is that if you weren't taught said things, can you agree that it is in your nature to like, desire, possibly fall in love with? Because let's never get it twisted. It's not like hoes are out here with shitty personalities or anything. No. Some of them are very like personable and all of that. So possibly fall in love with. And if you weren't taught that you couldn't bring that woman home, could that end up being the woman that you brought home? Because y'all have all admitted that they're still desirable.
So bougie.
There's a big problem with that. Hold on. There's a big problem with that, right? There's literally data that proves women with fewer sexual partners have longer, more satisfactory marriages, and women with more partners report a higher divorce rate. These are facts. Most men know this. We're not stupid. We go by data. We go by logic. This is real. We can't ignore the facts. It's proven. Some of us know innately, but in real life, when we take the data, we can't refute the data. That's real. That's real talk. Women with one or less partners.
They want us to ignore the data
before
so
marriage.
No,
Bo,
I got you, Bo.
Period.
Bo, I got you.
Please let me see.
What was you going to ask, Bo? Let her ask.
I got you because I'm not a data person. I don't believe in the data stuff, right?
We can't data out of this
because all of us before the data, because this data, the data that we're talking about is data that we use to validate how we already felt, right? I don't know. Everybody's up here is a mature adult, right? Before we ever saw that data, we knew how we felt about hoes.
Exactly.
Like
I just said innately.
Yeah. So I don't care about the data, and I don't like. Listen, I don't have a problem just saying like, yo, I don't have to explain it. I don't like hoes, right? We don't have to always explain it. It's just like we
should. That's the whole point of us being here, so people can have some type of understanding as to why.
But also, when we try to explain it, it becomes disingenuous because we start giving these reasons that aren't the actual reason.
I didn't. Maybe you did. I didn't. I gave genuine reasons.
But those genuine reasons aren't the actual. So if a woman accounted for all of those things, you would still be with her. If she could fix all of those problems that can arise from the situation.
So do you not understand? So all right, you probably dealt with women who have had a lot of sexual partners, and then you dealt with some who didn't, and they behave differently. I don't care what anyone says. They behave differently. This is a fact. Are you going to say different? Are you going to deny that?
Yeah, I never noticed that. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I'm not one of. I've never tried to make a hoe into a housewife, but I've been with some hoes, and I'm like, damn, like they was cooking for me. That they get up, they cooking for you, they wiping you off, they go getting a rag, and they doing all this. They doing all that stuff. I'm not saying that they wouldn't make a good housewife. I'm saying that I just wouldn't do it because I don't want to wife a hoe to that extent. But they did a lot. They had a lot of nice traits.
How do you know who's a hoe?
I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I was dealing with this girl. She was cute. I messed with her real quick, but then my homies is like, yo, that's this girl, right? They like, yo, we know her. And they sent me all the information. I'm like, oh shit. But she was cooked. And I only dealt with her one time. I went over her house one time and I found that out. But she cooking for me, she doing all this type of stuff. I'm like, oh shit, well, she's a nice person at least. Like, she nice, but it's different ways that we can find out how women are. But to what you said, one of the biggest ways we do as an adult, because we're not going to ask you your body count, we're going to listen to how you talk. We're going to see how you move, and it's very easy to pick up on a woman. The type of woman that a woman is. It's very. So easy.
You like so it's safe to say that it's okay to be a hoe as long as you're a quiet hoe. As long as your name's not in the street, because really what is happening is men aren't wifing the hoes because you got shamed out of it by your homie, or like the hoe facts was a little too loud. But if that hoe facts didn't come out, that could have been a long-term girlfriend, that could have been a wife.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a possibility that if a man doesn't know
Okay,
about a
and
woman's
see,
past,
but see, real dope, that's the shit that I can respect. That logic is the logic I can respect. Not somebody sitting up here making it seem like, oh, I know this because we talked about body count. That lady could have told you 6 or 60. She could have told you 5 or 50. Like, you don't know. Like, the fact that a coochie is a muscle and it can tighten up as long as she does wall squats and Kegels, you don't know. Like, you saying that that's how you found out, and if you didn't, if nobody was telling on certain women, then that line of logic makes perfect sense. Okay, yes, you don't like them because it is a hurtful sentiment to a man's pride that his woman has a reputation in the street. And if we leave it there, fine, great, cool, respectable. But trying to make it something else, that sounds like bullshit.
But also a woman who had a promiscuous background has not had a stable relationship.
that's not
Okay,
true
and
either, though.
when you want somebody you want to marry, she has not held down a man married or ever. Now, when you get older, I see this is another thing.
Lady O, that's not true.
It's not true at all.
No, no, I'm just saying, in general, they can't hold down a stable relationship. In general, they cannot.
Lady O, that's not true. That's
They
not true,
can't
Lady
hold
O.
down a stable relationship. They're too quick to leave a relationship.
Lady O, that's not true.
That's not true.
Listen, this is my belief, right? I think women